That's money back in your pocket. Anyway, that's your one-stop shop. Anything Medicare related, free, by the way. You can see it there, free Medicare help, and they'll help you, again, with a trusted advisor. Take advantage of that. Anyway, let's talk about where we're currently at. All right, so here we are. We're beyond the halfway mark through 2026, and again, there's the big head scratcher. Okay, so like this is what the president said, right? Remember, going back to late last year, in multiple different interviews, in press conferences, in remarks, social media posts, I mean, you name it, the president was out time and time and time and time again. In fact, I still have multiple videos here on the channel highlighting those clips of the president speaking. Yeah, we're going to do $2,000, this dividend payment for the people at some point later on in 2026. Now, I'll be 100% fair. We're not quite in later 2026 yet, okay? I wouldn't consider this where we are right now later in 2026. I would call this middle. I would still call this the middle of 2026, but we're running out of time, and we're running out of time quickly to get something like this distributed. As I've mentioned before, if they're going to do it, basically it needs to be done before the midterm election, if they want to do it for the purposes that we're thinking, or if they do it after the midterm election, then it would strictly be economically based at that point, as in the economy's not doing very good and they need to stimulate like they always do going into an economic contraction or recession, which you've heard me talk about many times before. I don't need to explain all that here in this video, okay? But anyway, so this is where we're at. As of right now, believe it or not, there are multiple proposals that are out there to do something very similar to what the president said. As in, the president indicated $2,000 payments. Again, he calls them dividend, doesn't matter. Stimulus, dividend, refund, rebate, name does not matter. Basically, $2,000 is sent out to a lot of different people based on, the situation. Now, you could also argue that that money was supposed to be coming from tariff revenue. Obviously, a number of months ago, was it back in February, I think it was, maybe around February, the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs and said these are unlawful, they're illegal, you have to refund all the money, things like that. So I've also seen comments saying, but wait, the Supreme Court said no more tariffs, therefore we won't get that check. Okay, I mean, that's one revenue source in which they could have come up with the money. But remember, the federal government has something that you and me don't, which I wish we could because it would be super fun. They have something called a money printing press or a money printing machine, or literally just short for computer. They have a computer where they literally have a keyboard where they can just type in some digits and say, look at us, we just printed $1 trillion by literally changing digits on a computer. They don't physically print like the green stuff that we're familiar with. They don't physically print that. That's not what I'm talking about. They literally just change digits on a computer, and there you go. Money has been manufactured out of thin air. It's basically how they do it, okay? So they can do that. They can just manufacture money whenever they want, which unfortunately we cannot do. I mean, it'd be super cool if we could, but then money would have no value because everybody would be printing just trillions and trillions of dollars all the time. But either way, point being is that yes, the tariffs were possibly going to bringing in some revenues that they were possibly going to distribute. And again, I say possibly we're going to distribute. We don't know if they were actually going to do it, but we know that that was one source of income. But they have plenty of other ways that they can get money. So don't worry about that. That's not the main situation here. What we need to be concerned about, or what we need to be questioning rather, is are they even going to do it in the first place? Okay, well, based on the current situation, again, we're not technically later in the year as the president indicated, but we're getting pretty close on that and we want some answers. Now, let's talk about a couple of other different things. There are other proposals. Again, the president indicated $2,000. We have other proposals suggesting $1,020. We have other proposals suggesting $600 per person. We have the proposal out of Bernie Sanders suggesting $1,000 from the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund. We have the other proposal from Bernie Sanders, $3,000 from Make Billionaires Pay Their Fair Share Act, that one that's out there. We have concepts coming out of people, high-profile people, suggesting universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, universal high income, because of the automation and AI, all of these different things. Okay, there's plenty of programs and plans that are out there. Again, those are just some of them I can think of at the top of my head. There's even others that are out there suggesting the direct distribution to us in the form of some type of direct payment. Okay, so there's plenty of these that are out there. So obviously, it would seem that different groups of lawmakers, or just individual lawmakers are very supportive of this type of idea of direct payments. But ideas, in this sense, I was going to say ideas don't pay the bills, but honestly, ideas do pay the bills. That's literally how things are created. But anyway, in this sense, what I mean is that, okay, they can propose all they want, but until they pass or they do something to solidify what they're actually talking about, they're only that. They're just concepts, a waste of paper. As they write all this stuff up and present it, it's literally just that, a waste until they actually get something done. Does that make sense? Now, let's talk about Reconciliation Bill number 3 and literally what they're talking about now, Reconciliation Bill number 4. Look it up. Again, that just came across the wire just, I don't know, maybe 3-4 days ago, something like that. I haven't talked about it specifically yet, but they're talking about this. But here's the deal. They want before, okay, this isn't going to happen, by the way, this timeline part. They wanted to have this done before they left for their summer recess. Their summer recess is in what's the date? In 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or something like that. They leave in a short amount of time, and then they're gone for 5 weeks. Well, here's the deal. They say this every year. We're not going anywhere until we get our agenda done. And then what do? They disappear and go on vacation. So they literally do this every single year where they're like, yeah, we're going to get this whole thing done. We're not leaving Washington until we get this done. And then before you know it, they're like, yeah, we couldn't come together on a deal and we're going to just leave. And then they leave. But either way, they want to have this next reconciliation and they're probably going to do it. However, they're struggling to agree on what it's going to include. But as I mentioned before, again, I had a video out maybe a month ago, give or take a little bit, where I was saying timing of Stimulus Package 3.0, otherwise known as Reconciliation Bill 3.0, is very suspicious because they wanted to get it done before they leave for their summer recess. Again, early-ish August. It's not going to be done by then. That's not that far away from right now. But they come back right around the early middle portion of September, right after Labor Day. Okay, that's kind of this year it's kind of pushing middle-ish of September at that point. But anyway, they could get it done then. And remember, they need to get some more things done here before the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th. The new fiscal year begins October 1st, and we absolutely 100% know that they want to get things done before the midterm election, which is, again, early November. So from the time that they return from their recess until the midterm election is literally 2 months. That's it. It's actually not even 2 months from the time that they return until the midterm election. Now, the timing of Reconciliation Bill number 3, or if they scrap number 3 and go to number 4, that they've been talking about, 4.0, regardless of what number it is, doesn't matter. But point being is that reconciliation, remember, has the option, has the opportunity to add stimulus, add a rebate, add a distribution, add whatever you want to call it. Okay? I think, I'm just going to say this, if they do it, I'm banking on this. Again, I told you this before. I like to bet on stuff. Okay? I'm a betting kind of person. If I could throw down, I would say this. The next payment, if they do it, is going to be tagged as a Trump check. Okay? Not to be mistaken with Trump, with chump change, right? But rather Trump check. Okay? I would anticipate if they do the next one, it's going to be 100% branded as a Trump check. Okay? Maybe I'm totally wrong about that. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Credit has to go somewhere, and you absolutely 100% know that he wants to take full credit for that thing going forward if they do that. Okay? And again, I'm not trying to make this a political video. I'm just saying you got to kind of look at the signs, right? You have to look at what the priorities of different people are and what they want out of different things, right? Always ask the question, WIIFM, what is in it for me? Okay, ask that with everything, and you can kind of see through what people are doing and why they're doing it. Because everybody asks that, maybe not, they don't logically think like, well, what is in it for me? But essentially with everything that everybody does, there's always something behind the motivation behind the madness. What is in it for me is essentially kind of what goes into it, kind of why people do things. Okay, what's in it for them? If there's nothing in it for them, if there's no gain, they're not going to do something. Just want to give you that little quick side note there. But anyway, long story short here, reconciliation has the opportunity to add something into it. The timing of this is very interesting and suspicious. They could easily add something like this into it. Now, am I guaranteeing that? No, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I would never guarantee something based on what lawmakers do or don't do, or even what they say, because we know how lawmakers operate. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. I mean, they're politicians, right? If their lips are moving, they're lying, okay? That's the tagline within politicians. If their lips are flapping, it's a lie, right? So anyway, point being is that I would never guarantee anything. I have no idea what lawmakers are going to do. All I'm saying is that I'm sharing with you what I know and what I've been researching, what I've been seeing coming across the wire over the last several days, weeks, and honestly, the last several months as we continue to go forward and just see the situation right now, okay? But anyway, here's the deal. Here we are beyond the halfway mark through 2026. If they're going to do something like this, and again, I alluded to this previously in a video month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago now. I'm not sure. It was a while ago. But the situation is this. There's a couple different catalysts. I'm going to continue to call it catalysts that could distribute any type of payment like this. Catalyst number one is obviously the midterm election. That's only, I don't know, a few months out from right now. It's not that far away. They could easily do something before then if they wanted to. They could easily include something into this next reconciliation bill if they just so wanted to do so. At that point, by the time that they would get that done, which would likely be September or October, I would then say that would be consistent with what the president said of later in 2026, later in the year. I would call September and October, later in the year. We're certainly not around the halfway mark anymore. I would say that's kind of pushing later in the year. Certainly October is later in the year. September is kind of like that halfway mark where it's like, it's not super late, it's not super early, it's not in the middle. It's kind of like pushing later, right? So anyway, that's what I would say. But anyway, so they could absolutely do that. Now, the midterm election is catalyst number one. If they don't do anything before the midterm election, well, whatever. I'm just saying, I've said this for many, many months. I feel like they're going to blow it, and they've lost a great opportunity, and probably also lost a lot of trust across a lot of people because they've talked about it so extensively many months ago, where we were, going to see this payout. We're going to see this distribution. Awesome. People are excited. And then they don't follow through. I don't know. I just find that to be something that's going to irritate people. But anyway, that's that. But then next, we have this other economic situation. And again, you hear me talk about this in a number of scenarios, but it's all really about the economy, okay? And again, I know a lot of people don't believe that and think, we're never going to see stimulus again, ever. Do you realize how many times this country has seen stimulus in the last, call it, 25, 30 years? Multiple times. Every time we go into a nasty recession, they print money and they push a little portion of that out in the form of stimulus payments to us, because that's what they do to bring the economy back up and get it afloat and get businesses, operational again, hiring again, is by giving us money. They know that we are going to spend that money fast, and they know that that money is going to be spread out across various different sectors and areas of the economy, which is why they do it. They give us money because they know that we are going to spend it pretty much immediately, and that's going to be a huge injection of cash into the economy very, very, very quickly. That's why they do it. They don't do it because they care about us. They do it because they use us. They're using us. Can you believe that? They're using us when they give us stimulus to get it into the economy. That's the only purpose. And also, they know that if they give us 1,000, if they give us 1,400, we're probably going to spend 1,200, 1,500, 1,600. They know that if they give us, X dollars, we're probably going to spend more. Think of it this way. It's like a gift card, right? Have you ever been given a gift card for like a birthday or Christmas or something like that, or some kind of holiday? Maybe it's a $25 gift card. Do you spend exactly $25? Do you spend $20? No, you probably spend $30 or $40 or $50. Why? Because you wouldn't want to possibly leave any money on that card. I'm the same way. I do the same thing. If I get a gift card, 10, 15, 20 bucks, $25, I don't spend $19 and leave $1 on the card. I make sure to spend like $22 because that means I've spent the entire card and then I had to come out of pocket like $2 to fulfill the remainder of the card. Does that kind of make sense, right? Same thing with this. They know if they give us 1,000, we're going to spend 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, something like that. We're going to spend more than that, which is like a freebie for them with more money being injected into the economy. That's all it's really about. It literally is just about stimulating the economy, is when it comes down to distributing money to us. So anyway, long story short, actually, this was not a long story short. This was a long story long. But this is where we're at as of right now. And again, I wish I had a better answer. I wish I could sit here right now and say, yes, stimulus has been approved and will be arriving on X date. Obviously, that is not the case. I want to make that very clear. That is not the case as of right now. But I wish that I could sit here and say that. But as of right now, it's still a big old question mark. However, we need to take the word of what people like the president and the economic advisors out of the administration, like Kevin Hassett, and the Treasury Secretary, like Scott Bessent, and other people have said, going back since the late last year, early this year. I think we need to take their word for it, and they said it's going to be coming. So until proven otherwise, let's just anticipate that, they said it's going to come. Okay, let's take their word for it for now. I'm not really putting a whole lot of faith in them, just being fair. But until proven otherwise, we need to kind of feel like, well, they said it, so maybe they'll follow through with it. And if not, well then, I guess it's going to be a different story then, right? But my point being is that we're not quite yet into that time frame in which the president indicated that later in the year. So again, later in the year was his way of sidestepping midterm election. We know that. We know that he was talking about the midterm election. Duh. We know that, right? Right before the midterm election. And again, we saw the same thing back in early 2021 when there was another election cycle going on at that time from the previous administration. Okay, so I'm not sitting here, pointing fingers, slamming any particular person or an administration. I'm just saying this is what they do around major elections is they bait the hook. It's okay. I'm fine with that. We know what it is. Call it what it is. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind. Whatever. I'll take a bribe. I'll take that, right? If they want to give us some money, fine.